Hey everyone, I'm really excited to have as a guest here today, Pragito Dove. She is a global authority on expressive meditation and founder of the #1 expressive meditation training school in North America. She's an internationally recognized author, hypnotherapist, coach, and speaker with over 20 years experience. Pragito helps entrepreneurs, leaders, and CEOs align their mindset to allow more peace, time, and financial freedom. She shows you how to change your money blueprint, recondition your mind for automatic abundance, and use spiritual laws to create real-world success. Her new book, Lunchtime Enlightenment, Expressive Meditations for Manifesting Peace, Prosperity, and Passion, was published in August of 2020. And I just have to sing your praises about the book because the book was fantastic. Pragito, welcome.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm thrilled to be here.
Yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled to have you to speak to, how important mindfulness really is in regard to conscious leadership and how we need to lead forward, through these times and moving on. Pragito, how does mindfulness play a role in the importance of supporting others to move forward into a more sustainable way of living and leading?
Well, I think it'd be good to start with defining what mindfulness is and what it isn't. So,
sounds good.
Mindfulness is actually a Western name for meditation. And what that is being in the present moment. Meditation or mindfulness, I'm going to use those two words interchangeably because they actually mean the same thing. It means being in the present moment. And either you're in the present moment or you're not. And if you're not, then you're in the future or you're in the past. So we kind of have those three options of where to be. And so mindfulness it's not a technique. It is a quality of presence that you can bring to any activity. It is awareness. And what the ramifications of that are pretty immense in terms of how you lead your life, your own life, and how you lead others, and how you run your business, how you are with your family and friends, and so on, because it spills out in every facet of your life. So what you're really looking for, especially, if we're talking about conscious leadership, is that quality of awareness of being fully present, whatever you are doing. So that's the basic of what mindful leadership is, being fully present with whatever you're doing. And to be fully present, the first person we have to be present with is ourselves. You always have to start with yourself. And so what does that mean, being present with yourself? It means being connected to yourself, accepting yourself, respecting yourself, loving yourself, because no one's perfect. So it's not about being perfect, but it's really about getting to know yourself on such a deep level that when you make decisions, you are rock solid behind them. You know from your deepest being that you made the right decision in that circumstance. And at the same time, you have the capacity to listen to your own inner wisdom, but also to others. So when we start with ourselves, this is what a practice of mindfulness or meditation can do for you. It helps you, especially you can do it on a daily basis is the best, consistently, is you get to know yourself. You get to understand yourself, have compassion for yourself, and know what you're good at and what are the things you're not so good at, so then you get help with the things that you're not so good at. So for example, I'm not that great at technology, so I have all kinds of people helping me with technology, and not to feel bad about that. You know, I don't judge myself about it. It just is what it is. So I get help in that area. And most people have an area where they're not so good. So it's important to get help so that you're not spending your time on something that you're not, you know, that's going to take you too much time, sort of thing. So we want to having this compassion for ourselves helps us have compassion for others. Because when you're a leader, I mean, people make mistakes, they just do. And it's important to be aware of that and to have a compassionate approach the way you talk to people. Because that's one of the qualities of a great leader, is to have that compassion, to have that understanding of when people make mistakes or they need to be told to go in this direction instead of that direction, or whatever it is you're saying to them. So starting with the self-awareness makes you very strong inside, very connected to your own inner wisdom, the wisdom of your body, the wisdom of your heart, and your higher self, or your soul, or your spirit, whatever word you like there. Because that's really where your guidance comes from within you. And you learn as you practice this consistently, you learn to really trust yourself, which gives you confidence, confidence being confiding in oneself. Because you've come to your conclusions, you've come to your decisions, the direction you want to go in from within yourself. Because one thing as a leader is you'll probably get criticized. You know, people will have a different opinion. And so you'll have people over here who think this such and such over here. Then you've got people over here who have an opposite opinion. And if you're working with a team, then the leader has to find a way to bring people together. So you have to really be able to listen to both sides and then be able to bring everybody to an agreement of some kind. And so the listening, again, it starts with yourself. You have to be able to listen to your own messages from your body, from your heart, from your soul. And then you develop this knack of being able to also listen to others. So you stay connected to yourself, and at the same time, you can encompass everybody else. There's quite an art to it. There's quite a knack to it. Because what happens with a lot of people is they lose connection with themselves, and then they go out over there, and then they start taking sides, or maybe they start getting angry or upset about things because they have left their inner home and gone out somewhere else. Yes?
Yeah, absolutely. I love what you said about self-awareness, right? Because I agree. I think self-awareness really serves as the basis.
Yep.
For compassion, understanding, empathy, you know, for everything else, in terms of, you know, what qualities there are in a great leader. And, you know, in the past, I would say in the more patriarchal type of system we've had, you know, especially in corporate America up to this point, I believe that leadership has been confused in some instances with managing people. And,
yeah.
you know, they're two very different things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, you know, as the leader, you really have to be connected with your heart. And it's funny that you use that word mindfulness, which brings in the mind. But because what comes up for a leader is either how to use power, or do you misuse your power? Yeah, we see that a lot, not just in corporate America and politics, the misuse of power. And that is always because the person has lost connection to their heart.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
they've gone up into the head, which is the ego mind, the ego, that's the same thing. And they've just lost that connection. And it's the heart that connects us all to all. It's like we all have one heart as human beings. And that's the place that the leader must reside. So sometimes he has to let go of his ego, or she, I should say. They have to let go of their ego and come to the heart to see what is the best outcome for everybody concerned, so that it works best for everybody, which might mean the leader's ego gets a bit bruised, but that's okay if the overall decision is serving everybody for the highest good of everybody concerned.
So part of being a great leader is the ability to drop the ego too, right? And
yes.
To put your people first. And when you're talking about coming from the heart space, I assume you're speaking in terms of, making an intuitive decision, right? The reason why I bring this up is because there are some people that confuse the heart with being an emotional decision, right? And it's not just about emotions.
No, it's not emotions. And actually, I'd like to talk about emotions in a minute. The heart has its own wisdom.
Yeah. And
the heart only does one thing. It loves unconditionally. And if you are giving a speech about something or presenting something, you still probably need to do your research and have all the facts. But it's the energy you present with. It's the way you talk to people, the energy with which you talk to them. If you talk with the energy of love, of compassion, of the heart, then people will hear you.
Yes.
Much more easily than if you talk from the ego mind, which can get judgmental and condescending or something like that. So to connect to the wisdom of the heart, as I say, the heart has its own wisdom. So again, when you have a daily meditation practice, just sitting with yourself, maybe for 5 minutes to connect with yourself, you'll start to be able to listen to the messages from your heart, the messages from your body, and the messages from your soul. And then you come from that place when you talk to people in your team or whoever you're leading. And I'd like I have a great Nelson Mandela story if you'd like to hear it.
Sure, I think we can do that.
As he's one of the greatest leaders, I think, in our time. And actually, I'm pretty sure this conversation that he had with Oprah Winfrey I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube, if anybody wants to check it out. But as we all know, Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison. And as I'm sure you know, and I hope a lot of people know, we create our lives. Everything that happens in our lives, we create it. Whether we like to hear that or not, when I first heard that, I didn't want to hear it. But it's true. We create everything in our lives, positive and negative. And in the light of that thought, Oprah asked Nelson Mandela, why did you spend 27 years in prison? Because we create our lives. So why wasn't it just 10 years in prison, or 5 years, or 15 years? Why 27 years? Because that's a really long time. And you know what he said? He said he had to stay in prison for 27 years because it took him 27 years to transform his anger into compassion. He had so much anger against all the whites for the way the blacks had been treated, but he was aware or mindful enough to know, to realize that he had that anger, and that if he left prison still with that anger in his heart and tried to lead the country, get elected president, you know, and lead the country, then he would be just repeating the same thing, committing atrocities against white people, you know, and like taking revenge. And he knew that was not the answer. So he had to wait, and he had to keep bringing love to himself to transform that anger into compassion. And it took him 27 years.
I wanted to just, you know, elaborate on the time frame with which he spent in prison, right? Because for him, it was 27 years. For someone else, it might be longer. For someone else, it might not be as long. There is no textbook to our own healing, right? I think, you know, we live in a society that largely sells to people a quick fix for everything, right? You know,
right.
And the thing is just really allowing yourself that space to experience that healing and having the willingness.
Yes, and he had the willingness, and he had the awareness. Yeah. He had the awareness that that's what needed to happen if he was going to have an impact as a leader. And we all know that he did, that he has been an extraordinary leader since he came out of prison. So the reason I wanted to tell that story was because many people have anger inside them that they don't know what to do with. And what most people do with their anger, and this is emotions that we're talking about here, is they either dump their anger out on another person or they stuff it down. And I have meditation solutions, expressive meditation solutions of what to do with your anger so that you can dump it out, you can express it out of the body-mind in the context of a meditation technique and free yourself from all that emotional turmoil. And it's not going to take you 27 years. So
it'll happen faster.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, Nelson Mandela didn't know about these expressive meditation techniques. That wouldn't have taken him 27 years.
Right?
Yeah, right. So I love that story because I think it's true of so many people that they have anger, and then when you're a leader and you're not aware of your anger, then your judgment can be contaminated.
Yeah.
And there's two types of anger. There's conscious anger and there's unconscious anger. And because there's nothing wrong with anger itself. I mean, we have anger in us for a reason, because it's a protective emotion sometimes to help us get out of trouble. If someone's following us, we want to get angry with them and run. Yeah. But when you are aware or conscious that you have anger in you, and you know about these meditation techniques, which are in my book here, so you can read about them in there, then you can release it and you can transform the anger into compassion and into creativity. And then you can be much more productive. However, if it's unconscious, your anger, then some not good things are going to happen. But this is something I think that leaders can benefit from with their meditation practice or their mindfulness practice, is to become aware of, okay, do I have anger inside me? I mean, most people do. There's nothing wrong with that. But what do you do with your anger? And it's a question people can ask themselves. What do I do with my anger? Do I take it out on people? Do I stuff it down? So that the these meditations can help you clear out the emotional turmoil so that you have more clarity and, basically more clarity from which to lead whoever it is you're leading. So
absolutely,
the emotion must be addressed for sure.
Yes, definitely. Pragito, what significance does one's clarity of mission, vision, and purpose have in regard to embodying their highest self as a leader?
Well, I think it's everything. I mean, I think you really want to know your purpose, because then you know where you're going, you know?
Yeah, I bring that up as a question because there are, so many people that are conditioned to believe that life has to be lived in this cookie cutter way, right? Or that maybe what they're feeling called to do may not be possible for them, right? But it's really when we align with our purpose, with our mission and what we're feeling called to do, then everything else falls into place, not the other way around.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, there's your awareness practice, your mindfulness, meditation practice can help you connect with what you feel your purpose is, what you feel your mission is, because it's usually pretty clear once you go within. You can ask, exactly. It's usually pretty clear. I mean, mine's been clear to me for a very long time. Now, what can happen, though, is fear and doubt can come up. Fear and doubt will come from the mind and say things like, oh, well, that's never going to happen. How are you going to do that? And, you know.
Or you can't make money doing that. Or
Right. Right. All these negative thoughts appear. And again, here you need your meditation practice to understand how the mind works, because it's very helpful to understand how the mind works. So the mind has thoughts going across it. The thoughts are not real. They're like shadows. So like if you're walking down the street on a sunny day and you see your shadow, this shadow is not real. You are real, but not the shadow. So thoughts are shadows. They're not real. They're made up, fabricated by the mind. And our job is to not believe them and not get caught up in them, not get identified with them.
Well, but our mind, or I just wanted to say, but our mind serves us in certain capacities, right?
Oh, yeah. So this is not about, we don't need our mind. Actually, a very powerful technique created by the Buddha 25 centuries ago, and still very relevant today, it's still really the best technique for the mind, is learning to witness the mind. You learn to just watch, observe, or witness the mind. You watch the thoughts go by, and you become disidentified from the mind. So you still have your mind, of course, we still need the mind, but you're not at the effect of it. You're not believing all those negative thoughts. You're not all caught up in it, because you get some distance and you understand, okay, that's the mind. Just let those thoughts pass by, and I'm here relaxing. Because when you can get disidentified from the mind, it's much easier to listen to your inner wisdom, to your inner guidance, which is your best friend.
Yes, definitely. One of the easiest ways I've found to tell the difference between the two is that our inner wisdom isn't going to be fear-based.
Absolutely. Yes. Because fear, comparison, greed, and judgment, those 4 false friends, I call them, they live in the mind.
Yeah.
So if you're using words like should and ought, those are judgment words. That's red flags. That's judgment. So that's the mind. And yes, anything that's fear-based is the mind. So it's a practice. You know,
It is.
that's the value of paying attention to yourself, your inner self, every day consistently. Because what happens over time is it's just very clear what is coming from the fear-based mind and what is coming from your inner wisdom. And it becomes easier and easier to follow the inner wisdom.
Yeah.
And use the mind, you know, like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with comparison. Like if you're buying airline tickets, you want to compare and judge, you know, this is better than this, cheaper, or this is quicker or whatever. So that's all great. But we don't want to be judging and comparing ourselves or other people. People are the realm of the heart.
Right.
And facts and knowledge are the realm of the mind.
I love how you put that. Very succinct. Pragito, what's the number one piece of advice you have for other conscious leaders to lead themselves and their community through and beyond the current climate we're experiencing, professionally and personally? So when I say community, I mean, it could mean their clients, their employees, their families.
Yeah, and I also say it as we're leading ourselves too, actually.
Yes, you know? Yes.
Plus all the other people, which is many or a few.
Yeah.
You can only say one piece of advice because I got so many.
I would say give us a couple, but prioritize. What are let's just say, like, what are the two most important pieces of advice you would have?
I would say own your authority. Another way of saying that is own your medicine. Whatever it is that you're good at, whatever it is that you are here to lead people about, you know, own it, really own it. And I think women in particular need to hear this, because women have a tendency to not really want to, you know, stand up and be seen and be heard. Comes more naturally to men, and I'm speaking in big generalizations, of course.
Yes, of course.
So yes, own your authority. And I'd say the other thing is listen. First to yourself, your inner self, and then to others.
I love that. You know, when I think of listening to someone, I think of actually, and it can apply to ourselves as well, as listening to understand, right? Not just listening to what's being said audibly, but listening to understand.
Yes, and to feel, you know, to feel the other person or the other people, to feel and really get a sense of what it is that they want or what their complaint is. So you can really go to that level of compassion as well as understanding the facts. When you can get a sense of a deeper sense as well as the top level sense of what it is they have to say. And most importantly, we must listen to ourselves, to our own inner wisdom. That's number one.
Absolutely. I really feel that.
Yeah.
Pragito, if someone wants to learn more about you and connect with you, tell us where is the best place to reach out.
The best place is my website, www.discovermeditation.com. And for everybody on this call, if you type in discovermeditation.com/contact, you'll find some free gifts.
Awesome. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about the free gifts?
Sure. There's a 30-day meditation booklet that you get. So it's a very short meditation each day for 30 days. Doesn't take long, but it's just to help you get in the habit and have some wise thoughts to read and to think about. And there's another gift in there is an audio of me talking about how meditation can help you with manifesting.
I love that. So would you, because I highly recommend your book as well, Lunchtime Enlightenment. So if someone weren't regularly practicing meditation today, would you recommend that they sign up for your free gifts first and then move on to the book? Or how would you do that?
Well, definitely sign up for the free gifts because it's free, right?
Right.
That's always good. And, you know, that way too, then they get my Laughing Buddhist Network newsletter where, you know, there's a free weekly wisdom in that I do in that, and then information about upcoming seminars or trainings and so on. But also, yeah, I have the book here. The book has got many meditation techniques in it, from like 30 seconds to an hour. And it addresses just about every kind of life situation you can think of, to reduce stress, to help heal emotions, to help heal relationships, to manifest what you want. I mean, it's got a huge range of possibility in here. So if you have either $8 for the online for the Kindle version, or I think it's $18 for the hard copy, definitely get a copy of the book. Lunchtime Enlightenment. There it is.
I'm glad that you elaborated on that, because a common question I hear, you know, because meditation is something that I recommend to all of my own clients as well. And it was something that changed my life years ago. But I hear the statement, I can't do meditation. What would you say to those people?
Oh, yes. So, not around me, because I have an answer for everything.
But it takes practice, right? I feel like people get the impression, again, going back to that everything has to be a quick fix.
Yes, and it's also understanding what meditation is and what it is not. Meditation is awareness. Meditation is being in the present moment. And so I think a lot of people will find, listening to this, you're already in the present moment a lot of the time. Yeah. Like maybe when you're working, when you're with your kids, when you're chatting with a friend, especially when you're doing things that you enjoy, because you're enjoying yourself. So why wouldn't you be present? Yeah?
Exactly. Yes. Yes, absolutely.
So I always encourage people, and that's in chapter 2, the laughter chapter in this book, is to do things that you enjoy, because that helps you be in the present. And obviously it's fun. And that is what meditation is, being in the present moment. And so I think people who say they can't do it, they just don't understand what meditation is and what it is not. They maybe have some idea you have to sit for hours chanting mantras in the lotus position at 3 a.m. or something like that, you know, and that's not the case. I mean, if you want to do that, that's right, fine.
Yeah.
But you know, you can be fully present when you're doing the dishes, when you're on your computer, when you're talking to a client, when you're taking out the trash.
Exercising.
Yeah, exercising. Exactly. Because it's the quality of your presence with the activity. It's not the activity. So, you know, start with just bringing awareness. Oh, I'm really enjoying myself right now. I'm really present. Yeah, and then that's meditation. But if your mind is off in the future or the past, then that's not meditation.
Right.
So it's noticing that about yourself. Yeah.
Absolutely. Pragito, thanks so much for your time. I could talk to you for days about all of this.
Yeah, we could.
Thanks so much.
You're so welcome. I really have enjoyed talking to you.
Me too.